Well, parents face challenges every day. I know this from experience. You hear me talking about this a lot. There's a special set of challenges, though, for parents of children with behavioral problems or developmental delays.
But there is help, and even more of it, now that Children's Respite Care Center has a new expanded location in Southwest Omaha.
Laura Gervase Fischer is here to explain what this expansion means for families. Good to see you, Laura.
It's nice to have you here.
Thanks for
This is
stopping
great.
by. So let's start with the basics, with an explanation of kind of what does CRCC do?
Children's Respite Care Center offers comprehensive care for children with special needs. We have a behavioral health day program that offers specialized care for children with behavioral problems. We also have nursing care on site, occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, and feeding therapy. So in layman's terms, I tell people that we're kind of like a child care center on steroids.
Right.
But,
you cover the range.
But what you do in terms of what a regular child care center can't, how do you explain the difference that you're making for these children and for their families? Because I know personal experience in some families, it's incredible the difference you're making.
Absolutely. I was just touring a new family at the new center because the kids were transitioning and they wanted to see where they were going and be ready for their first day. And I had a parent that was telling me they had been in our program for 2 months, and they said, I can bring my child to the grocery store, I can bring my child out, you know, I couldn't. Before I couldn't take them to a restaurant, I couldn't take them out because they were having tantrums and they weren't listening to me. And so that's what it's really all about. It's about the parent and the child being able to work together and to be successful, and that's what makes what we do worth it all.
It's life-changing.
It is. It changes their lives, and you do a lot of this through a day program. Is that right? So how does a day program differ from other programs around the metro?
There's a couple ways that I think our program is really unique. It's very individualized. So every child has a unique plan that's written by a therapist. So every child isn't treated the same. Maybe your child is really motivated by Batman and another child's really motivated by stickers. We're not going to treat every child like they're the same. Another way is that we provide holistic care. I talked about how we have not only behavioral health, but we have speech and physical therapy and occupational therapy. So maybe there is a lot of behavior going on, but some of that has to do with the fact that they don't have effective communication skills. So we're looking at that child holistically, and we're partnering with that speech therapist, and we're partnering that with the behavioral health piece.
This week is an important one for you. Would you explain why?
It is Children's Mental Health Awareness Week, and a lot of times I think people are really uncomfortable kind of talking about mental health. And so I'm glad that you bring that up. Sometimes it's easier not to talk about those things, but the CDC has actually said that 1 in every 5 children has a mental health diagnosis. And just like a medical problem, if we let it go and we don't address it, sometimes it tends to get bigger and more complex.
And you have to talk about it in order to get into those therapy programs and treatment and really make the most of it, you know, but you got to start talking about it first.
Absolutely.
Because with treatment, they can be very capable members of society as they get older. We've heard some of your staff and some of your therapists from Project Harmony recently visited Yale. What was this all about?
Yeah, Children's Respite Care Center and Project Harmony partnered together, and we went out to Connecticut and were trained in an evidence-based practice that was developed at Yale. It's an amazing practice that is making huge differences in families in as little as a month. Basically, the practice is called Child and Family Traumatic Stress Intervention, and in 4 to 6 sessions it reduces post-traumatic stress disorder or signs of trauma by 73%.
Wow. Just 4 to 6 sessions.
Yeah, so it's making huge differences for families. So when I say trauma, I'm talking about things like abuse or neglect, or when a really scary accident happens and a child's just having a really hard time moving on from that.
You mentioned earlier this giving tours of the new facility, and your grand opening is almost here for all of our viewers to be able to come and see it.
Yeah, here's a shot of it right there.
Beautiful,
That's
beautiful
nice.
facility, and not far from where you were previously in Southwest Omaha. So tell us about this grand opening.
Our grand opening is tomorrow from 4 to 7, and we welcome anyone in the community who's interested in learning more about Children's Respite Care Center to come on out and just take a look around.
Yeah.
Just any families, members of the community, just anybody that you want to get out.
Yeah, from 4 to 7. And there's also a website, so maybe even before tomorrow, if you'd like to educate yourself, I think it makes sense to visit the site. It's crccomaha.org, and then the number there in case you have any questions at all for Laura or another member of the team. Thank you for coming in. It's nice to see you.
Yeah,
Thank you so much for
Appreciate
having me.
It's common for our guests to bring special offers like savings and bonuses, which is more than handy with Mother's Day approaching. Well, you know, Dana did that just a little bit ago. The point is, even if you miss a live show, catch up with clips online at omahamorningblend.com.
All right, and speaking of offers, Mary, Saul's is bringing us one doozy of a sale for Mother's Day. See what I mean in about 15 minutes when I get them on.
And after the break, how Mother's Day kicks off a whole week of getting women to focus on their health. Sit tight.